event technology expert and host, Joe Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. And tonight we are with Mike Anderson, CEO of ConnectUs Global, right? Did I get that right? Sorry, I had a little bubble tea. It's good to see you, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing well, sir. I hope you as well. Hope everyone's safe and happy in your world.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm switching it up this episode. I couldn't decide if I wanted bubble tea or coffee, so maybe it's a mix of both, but I think the tapioca got me there. Man, we met at the start of the pandemic, and I'm thinking of 2020, how you guys were coming up with all this innovative technology for scanning and testing and badging at events. I think it was the MGM event that you made a splash, and everybody was talking about your badging tech, right, where it changes name to color. So I felt that this was a great tech that we should talk about because events are back. I've actually been to 3 live events, and things are happening in the convention and summit and trade show world. I feel like you have something that is going to continue for the months to come, and I'll let you take it away. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do.
Yeah, certainly. So, Mike Anderson here, CEO with ConnectUs Global. A little bit of background on our company. We cut our teeth in the oil and gas game in the energy markets. And I like to say we were doing contact tracing before it was cool. But really, we're a risk reduction and an ESG company, but really honing in on immersive experiences around worker safety. So when the pandemic hit, and of course, things started to get really dark in the capital world, especially around industrial globally, we pivoted some of our technology to help really in the live event space, but large venue screening around personal health and safety. So in our world, fit for duty meant I'm trained, I'm competent, I've done my alcohol and drug, and I can come onto site. Whereas what we saw in the pandemic was really a new level of public health measurement, saying that, it's not just I need you to be trained, competent in alcohol and drug, is I also need you to be healthy. And that really is going to affect the overall health of my organization and the overall health of my project. Events were hit, obviously, incredibly hard as being one of the first things to shut down. Hard. And one of the last things to come back, right? So we took to the streets and took to the market and had a lot of good engagements with the MGM Mandalay Bay and some of the folks in New York with the Javits Center. But it was really exciting for us to have a solution that was already proven globally that we could bring forward and solve some of these stringent problems for a different industry.
So let's walk our audience through the process. You have a very high-tech testing capability on site. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Certainly. So we've come up with a rapid laboratory model that we can establish, set up under a medical director, qualified staff, lab technicians, so on and so forth, to do rapid antigen and on-site PCR testing with results in as little as 2 hours. 15 minutes for an antigen test, but essentially we come turnkey with all the tech, all the lab, and all the back end to be able to some of the larger projects, we're testing a couple thousand people a day. Some of the smaller projects, for B2B and studio shoots, a couple hundred people a day, but just giving, because people that have to go on and do their job, like in the production world, they're not used to having to set up this kind of infrastructure just to get their people through the door. Most of the time, their tech takes over once I'm registered, ticketed, and I'm in the building. So.
And you have to check temperature. You have a whole process as people make it through the container. It's like a turnkey system.
Yeah, everything from vaccine and test qualification, temperature screening, symptoms triage with a nurse. We also have a plug-in for actually ticketing agencies, so that as part of their ticketing check, we can offer the declarations, opt-in health checks, things like that. And then they come through our system, and right now we're putting people through at the very high end, about 2.5 minutes per person if I need to get a swab, see a nurse, see a doctor, so on and so forth, and as fast as 2 seconds if we just require to do a thermal scan and temperature screening.
Yeah, and I guess it goes from the basic, which a lot of people are doing, to the very advanced, which I find fascinating. Then we're going to show your website, and we're going to play a little clip video of ConnectUs Global. That way we can check it out.
The global demand for digitization of any process across all spheres of activity is enormous. As a result, digitization is revolutionizing modern-day manufacturing, retail, and sports. Introducing Real-Time Location Platform, an essential technology for digitization of movement in any facility. The Location Platform implements ultra-wideband technology to ensure the highest precision on the market. A set of anchors, together with hundreds of tags, form a powerful location engine, processing all possible location data to create a virtual copy of physical movement in your facility. Optimize logistic flow in your warehouse or manufacturing facilities. Find where your intralogistics are losing efficiency. Whether you are analyzing retail customers' behavior or boosting team performance, always work with precise digital location data. Regardless of application, it's easy to integrate through open API and fully scalable in area and number of devices without any geographic limitations.
So I think one of the things that I think is also really interesting is that, the laws are changing around the U.S. I know you've done a lot of international events, but here, like in Florida, you can't ask people for proof of vaccination. In some places you can, but you can ask them to get tested before they go into a venue. So there's some interesting dynamics there between what's legal, what's not legal, and what I'm willing to give up as an individual in order to attend a trade show, right? And I think you guys fall into that middle ground where you can make everybody happy in a way, because you can't ask for proof of vaccination. A lot of people get upset about that, but you can say, do you mind if we test you with a rapid test? And most people, I'd say 99% of the people I've spoken to are okay with that. So it's interesting how tech and making it a 2-minute process is so innovative, because they're not used to that. Everybody's waiting. I mean, I've heard of people waiting 3 days for test results, which is kind of crazy.
That's right. And I think, people are starting to come to this new association of, again, public health measurement is saying that, before you would pretty much have to break your leg or be on long-term disability to be able to stay home from work. Now people are open to it. So when we look at especially expos and trade events, because that is, some people make the majority of their year's budget at some of these trade shows, right? So I'm going to work, I want to be healthy, and I want my risk to be low, because at an organization, all it takes is one person having an infectious disease or being exposed in that kind of atmosphere, and it could throw your entire team into a spiral. So when we look at expos and trade events, essentially, it is a job. It is a critical part of their annual budget, and a lot of people are more open to sharing their information in that sense, because they know how much weight those kind of events have.
So guide me through this. What if I just went through the container and I got my today's badge color, and 15 minutes later you detect that this person has something, right? How do you, is there a light that goes off? Do you send somebody after them? I know you have the RFID technology and you have a couple other things. Is there something on the badge that stands out?
Yeah, certainly. So our badges, very thin, they fit the standard RFID proxy card, but essentially what I do is I slide that in the middle. The green light is going to flash up telling me that the badge is activated. And then when I enter the venue, if there is ever a close contact, this is going to flash yellow and then red. Yellow when I'm in the 6 foot range of another person, and then red if I've been there for longer than 15 seconds. If there was an event where we had a contact tracing event and we had to go through and do those associations, that's done in a couple of clicks of a button, and we can actually turn all those badges that were in close contact a specific color, say orange or cayenne or anything like that.
So if I'm too close, it starts flashing.
Yeah,
pretty much. And I mean, has there been any situation where is there different distances for different countries? Like in Australia, are you allowed to be within 3 feet versus the 6 in the US? I mean, that can get kind of confusing.
It definitely can. The only time that we've seen any associations with contact tracing, I'll say variances around distance, is when you're dealing with large stadiums. So a good example is, for the Raymond James Stadium in Florida, doing the WWE or the Super Bowl that was there, they looked at different contact tracing thresholds saying, I can have 6 people within X block as long as there's vaccinated people around them. So there's a couple different calculations you can make to reduce that risk bracket when you have large venue seating, but in a trade show kind of instance where people are walking around interacting with each other, it's pretty hard. Most people just stick to the 6 feet.
I love it. I love the tech. I love what you're doing. I've talked to like 10 people already about it. And hopefully now with the podcast, we'll talk to thousands. Mike Anderson from ConnectUs Global, and you can see his website, and we'll have a link to some of his videos in the YouTube channel and on EventSpeak. Man, thank you so much for coming today. I think we're out of time, but it's been a great episode. I love. Can you hold that card again up there? Can you? I mean, that is way cool. I love it. Because some people are coming out of the pandemic and they're comfortable getting close and shaking hands and they're vaccinated. And some people still want the little red light flashing, right? Like, hey man, just stay 5 feet.
Well, I think about, I really appreciate the time, Joe, and also the opportunity that people have once you employ this kind of technology, show insights, that matchmaker experience. Like this data, it may solve an infectious disease problem, but for an exhibitor, and the only use case that I would really hammer on right now is if I could tell how many people walk past my booth and gauge their level of interest by how long they dwell in front of my booth, did they stand and turn and look, like that, a whole engagement model around warm.
Your attention span, OTS, foot traffic. Yeah, there's a lot of things we can measure. I love the data analytics side of that. Like what Beacons we're trying to do at trade shows 5-6 years ago. This is fantastic. Good stuff, man. I love it from the analytics standpoint too. We're at time, but listen, we got to keep evolving because there's bird flu and who knows what the next COVID is. And I'm glad that somebody's thinking about this right now. This is great.
Well, I always appreciate your time. Stay safe out there. And,
thanks, Mike. Hey, cheers, buddy. Have a good one.